What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Founders Brewing Company, and they're headquartered in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and this is their French Toast Bastard. And this is part of their barrel age series, and this is the 2022 release. So they're calling this one a vanilla, cinnamon, maple, a bourbon barrel aged Scotch Ale. Then on the side, it says a malt beverage with natural flavors. And then underneath that, it says ale aged in oak bourbon barrels with vanilla extract, cinnamon, and maple extract. Comes in 11.1% alcohol by volume, 50 IBUs at the time of review. This bottle is approximately 5 weeks old. So the first thing I want to do is give a huge heartfelt apology to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Jeff, aka No Jinx, because he sent me the original release of this one. I think he sent it to me in, I think it was early 2020, but it was their French Toast Bastard. It was a part of their Mothership series back then. I think it was Michigan only, and it was the 2019 release. The reason why I'm apologizing to Jeff is because I never drank that beer. I planned on doing a barrel-aged Michigan week later in 2020, but I had a bunch of health issues pop up, and it kind of just sat in my cellar with a bunch of other beers that Jeff sent my way. So the reason I'm mentioning this right now is because if you want me to review that beer after this one, maybe in the next couple weeks or month or whatnot, post in the comment section, let me know. I thought it was cool to review this one first, relatively fresh, and then see how an aged bottle, although they might not be exactly the same at this point, just let me know. And again, huge apologies to Jeff. I kind of messed that one up. So anyway, on the back here, they say Backwoods Bastard gets the full-fledged breakfast treatment. Our malty and rich bourbon barrel-aged Scotch Ale is introduced to the essence of smooth maple, warm cinnamon, and notes of sweet vanilla for an incredibly decadent brunch-inspired sipper. One taste and you'd swear you were digging into your Sunday morning French toast. Breakfast for dinner, anyone? Okay. So I love Backwoods Bastard. If you're talking about barrel-aged like beers from Founders, Backwoods Bastard, pretty much at the top of the list for me, definitely in the top couple, right? I'm curious to see how this one works. I don't like that they're using, I think it's maple and vanilla extract. That's kind of, a bummer, but whatever, we'll see. Give it a pour here. Definitely looks a bit darker than I remember Backwoods Bastard being, but I haven't reviewed Backwoods Bastard, so I need to review that at some point, honestly. Yeah, that's one of my favorite beers. It does it for me. I love Scotch Ales. Scotch Ales are, something that you don't see a lot of from American breweries. So, anyway, yeah, that has this deep burgundy, almost ruby red kind of tinges at the bottom. Yeah, that looks like a beautiful Scotch Ale, honestly. I said it looked a bit darker. It might be darker on camera, but in person, kind of appropriate, especially if you hold it up to the light. Has about just under a finger of this straight up khaki, a little bit maybe darker, maybe like a darker tan colored head. Looks relatively creamy. Let's see if there's any alcohol legs. Yeah, of course there's. It's 11.1%. Yeah, anyway, let's get a nose. Ooh, wow, what? Okay. Now, when it comes to Backwoods Bastard and Scotch Ales, we heavies in general, I love that. I typically get like a smoky character from it, right? And I don't love smoke beers, but like in Scotch Ales, they work because it's a nuance of the flavor profile as opposed to being like one of the main components. That, what I just smelled in conjunction with the cinnamon and like a spiciness, it smelled like barbecue to me. The first sniff, it smelled like straight barbecue. Every time I go back, it's like barbecue. It's like a barbecue chip, or if you're actually, using some kind of rub on like a brisket or pulled pork or something, it has that kind of just barbecue spice to it. Every time I go back, I smell that. Okay, but as I sit there, now, so if I go first, yeah, it smells like that barbecue kind of chip, barbecue brisket kind of, but if I sit there, it's definitely French toast. It's like I'm making French toast right at my stove right now. Yeah, it's cinnamon, it's maple, it's vanilla. I shouldn't even say, I mean, the maple's there, so it's like I just made maple French toast, and I'm like pouring the maple on top of it. But yeah, there's a smokiness here. There's caramel, there's toffee, molasses, more of that like caramelized sugars from the malts. I'll be honest with you, in the nose, really not getting the barrel aged portion. It's really just that French toast kind of flavoring is over top of like the base Scotch Ale. It smells pretty good though. It definitely has a French toast vibe to it. So what they're calling the French Toast Bastard, for sure. All right, anyway, make my mouth water. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. It's fucking delicious. 11.1%. Wow, no way. Yeah, it's really tasty. It might be a little bit heavy-handed for me after the first sip on the cinnamon and the vanilla and the maple, like the adjuncts or additives, whatever you want to call them. They're definitely, there. And I think it might be overshadowing the base. But I think if you pick up something that says French Toast Bastard, you kind of expect that, right? It's not like they're saying, right on the label here, it definitely says French Toast Bastard. And then it says vanilla, cinnamon, maple, bourbon barrel aged Scotch Ale. It doesn't say bourbon barrel aged Scotch Ale with vanilla, maple, and cinnamon. I think the body, 11.1%, a bit thin. It's more higher side of medium, lower side of full. I'd like to see a little bit more medium full. But that's all right. The mouthfeel, it has decent carbonation to it. It has a nice smoothness on the back of the palate. Mouthfeel's nothing to write home about. It's fine for what it is. Body and mouthfeel, whatever, it's fine. The taste, though, right at the tip of the tongue, it's cinnamon for me. It's cinnamon, and then it's vanilla and maple. So French toast flavors is the first thing that hits my palate. And they're pretty omnipresent. I think they're everywhere. I think it carries on through the palate, and maybe it dissipates as it continues on through, but it's definitely there. After that, though, I get caramel, toffee, a little bit of like a dark stone fruit. There's also a touch of that smokiness. It's not as big in the flavor as I perceived it to be in the nose. A little bit of like smokiness as well. That's all at the front of the palate. As it passes through, though, the barrel aging is a little bit more noticeable. But I feel like the bourbon for me is getting a little bit lost, where in Backwoods Bastard it's definitely noticeable. I think with the adjuncts, they're kind of dominating to the point where the barrel gets kind of thrown to the wayside. I'm getting like a semi to full-on oak tannin dryness on the back of the palate. I'm getting a little bit of vanillins because the maple the vanilla from the front of the palate's kind of mixing in with like the vanilla oaky thing, and I definitely get that. The spirit is not as noticeable as I thought it was going to be. This finishes, again, semi to full-on dry, mild bitterness. It's not really all that bitter, but it's really dry. So for something that's 11.1% and quite sweet at the front of the palate, it balances out enough on the back. I do think this still leans sweeter. And you're going into this buying something called French Toast Bastard, and it has those adjuncts. They're trying to replicate French toast in a barrel-aged Scotch Ale. I anticipate it to be a little bit sweet, right? But it's not cloying or anything. It's just lean sweeter. 11.1%. I feel it in the chest, but nothing on the palate. With the first sip, I was like, what? This is not 11.1. I would guess maybe 10 at the most if I was doing this blind, because I get the warming, but like on the palate, there's no astringency. There's nothing that's astringent on the palate. There's nothing that you're not getting that big heat. There's nothing on the palate that would indicate, oh my God, this is a huge 11.1% barrel-aged Scotch Ale. It's really fucking good. Is it as good as Backwoods Bastard? It's not. It's not for me. And, there's somebody who loves French toast or loves those three ingredients, whether, it's vanilla, maple, or cinnamon. If you're looking for a French toast beer and you want something huge, barrel-aged, yeah, this is probably your jam. I like French toast. I probably love French toast. French toast is fucking delicious. But Backwoods Bastard is one of those beers that it doesn't need anything other than barrel aging to me. This is a cool take on it, but it's not as good as Backwoods Bastard for me personally. You probably have a different opinion, or maybe you agree with me. Either way, post in the comment section. Let me know. Say, hey, Joe, you're a fucking idiot, or Joe, you're spot on. Either way, you're not going to offend me or upset me or whatever. We all have different palates, and that's how this world works. There's not much more to say about it. It hides the alcohol well. Body and mouthfeel a little bit disappointing for what I'm looking for. The flavors are nice and kind of spot on, but I can't go super high in this one, but I really enjoy it. So French Toast Bastard, part of their Barrel Age series, 2022 release from Founders. Rating wise, all day, every day, solid 4.25 out of 5. Can't go much higher than that. Can't go much lower. I think that's where it lands for me. Now Backwoods Bastard, which again, I haven't reviewed and I need to grab that when I see that relatively fresh. That beer is like high fours. Like I'm talking like, depending on the batch, depending on the year, like anywhere between like a 4.7 and like a 5. Like some years I've had Backwoods Bastard and it's a 5 out of 5. I've always enjoyed Backwoods Bastard more than KBS. Just to be honest with you, that's where I am. But this is a really good variant, and it's something that if you like French toast or you like Backwoods Bastard, pick it up, see what you think about it. Price point availability, in my neck of the woods, this was $16.99 4-pack. Your mileage may vary depending on where you are, but I paid like $4.50 for that bottle. Like yeah, all day, every day, it's 11.1%. All those different ingredients on top of a barrel-aged Scotch Ale base, like $4.50 for a bottle of that is fucking well worth it. And availability, wherever you see Founders, if you can get, Backwoods Bastard or any of the KBS or any of the variants, you should see this at some point this fall, I would assume. So yeah, really good variant of this. 4.25 out of 5 is a really good score. I'm going to enjoy the rest of that. But again, Backwoods Bastard, the OG is where it's at for me. Now, if enough people want to see me review that original release of this, I will do so, knowing damn well that probably at the very least the cinnamon has fallen off. But I think aged, this might be more in my realm where like maybe those spices go to the wayside just a bit. You still get nuances of them, but you still get that base of Backwoods Bastard. I think the aged one might be delicious, assuming that it held up. So we'll see. Let me know. And again, huge apology to Jeff for, I probably have like 6 or 7 barrel-aged Michigan beers from like 2019-20 from him that I need to drink. And I've been talking about doing, Viewer's Choice Cellar Sunday, and I need to get that going before the end of the year because there's a lot of beers in my cellar I need to drink. Anyway, if you had this one before, post in the comment section. If you had the original release and this, which one did you prefer? Do you think the Mothership Series one was better? Is this one? I'd love to know. So anyway, thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Till the next one. Cheers.